For a TV show centering around a badass zombie apocalypse, The Walking Dead has all the right elements of death, violence, and gore, and controversy. Starting off with Glenn's death. If there was ever a season with a massive cliffhanger, it's The Walking Dead's Season 6. Viewers quickly tuned into the Season 7 premiere to be the first ones to find out who had met their creator. Fans were already pissed off about the massive cliffhanger ending, and having to wait for the next season kind of thing. Eventually, the media attention got so bad that showrunner Scott Gimple had to tell everyone that it was going to be worth it.
Around that, so I tried to step aside from that, but I will say they're incredibly involved.
So, Scott, I know everyone did kind of believe you, but it wasn't really worth it.
Having done the finale with Scott Wilson, I love the story we told around his demise. It was such a cliffhanger to skip over what happens next.
Now, the season began with the revelation that Negan had killed Abraham as the others just watched in horror. Okay. That's a little too dark, even for me. But then, Daryl retaliates, only for Negan to kill everyone's fave, Glenn. Talk about disappointment. Most fans agreed that Glenn died just for the shock value, and it was overly gory for no reason at all. Do you know what else didn't make sense? The way the LGBTQ+ characters were treated on the show. While the show has never shied away or been scared of killing beloved characters, it's a bit sad to see so many likable and complex LGBTQ+ characters die so painfully. The Walking Dead is so bad at killing off the wonderful queer characters that it's invited a whole literary trope to be associated with it. Want to guess what it is? It's called burying your gays. Yep, that's an actual thing. And while many people online made some really dark jokes about it, there was some silver lining to it all. When the show did come through, that is. People were really happy to see the representation through Denise, but she was promptly killed off in the middle of Season 6. Can you believe it? Tara and Jesus' deaths in Season 9 also frustrated the fans. They felt like the showrunners barely gave them time to get to know the characters better before getting rid of them. Speaking of getting rid of, you know what they should have gotten rid of instead of the wonderful queer characters? That awful CGI deer. We get it. Not everyone has the budget of Marvel movies and can afford some stellar animation work, but a few moments in the show really didn't live up to people's expectations, and one that distinctly comes to mind is during Season 7. In episode 12, Rick spots a deer. Okay, cool. Who doesn't love a cute deer? Totally normal. But what made it memorable is how awfully bad it was. The episode itself was focused on the relationship between Michonne and Rick. Heavy studs. But what I remember is the shoddy CGI work done on the poor deer. The shots of Rick killing that deer came off as so fake and horrifying that people were genuinely shocked it made the final cut. Come on, guys, do better. And while we're on the topic of fake, remember the fake Grimes death on the show? AMC shocked viewers when they announced that Season 9's 5th episode would be Rick Grimes' last and final episode on the show. Naturally, that means someone's about to get kicked off, aka die. When people were shocked, there was also an element of excitement. So, when Rick decided to explode a whole bridge full of hordes of walkers to save people, everyone kinda assumed this is it, his final moment of glory. It also seemed like quite a fitting end to his character, but he was discovered to be able at the end of the episode. I still remember how I audibly gasped at the TV screen. But wait, he's then taken away by a mysterious helicopter that isn't even explained until the next season. I hate it when shows do that. Another time this fake death stuff happened was during an episode of Season 6, when Glenn and Nicholas jumped into a dumpster. Now, when Nicholas kinda chose to end his life, he pulled Glenn down with him into the horde of walkers next to the dumpster. Violence and gore ensue. We see bodies being ripped apart, limbs flailing, the whole shebang. But But guess what? 3 episodes later, Glenn is apparently still alive and hiding under the dumpster. Make it make sense. It literally made no sense for him to have survived that massacre, and fans really didn't have to wait for 3 whole episodes for that sad little reveal. Most fans felt like these pseudo-deaths had been so overdone by now that it just looks like a tacky plot device to get more people to watch. I don't think they're wrong. If Grimes wanted to go, that was literally the perfect scene to do it. And you know who shouldn't have died in a particular way? Noah and the revolving door death. Clearly, the show doesn't quite get the balance right with its deaths. While some have been shockingly impactful and beautifully done, others seem like they strayed in a different direction altogether, wasting an interesting character in the process. Noah barely gets any time with the survivors before he's trapped in the worst possible way in that revolving door and torn to shreds by the zombies. Yikes. His death has been arguably considered to be one that has gone too far in several ways. For one, it's definitely in The Walking Dead's top 3 goriest ways to go. I mean, the man is literally pressed against the glass door, while zombies have the feast of a lifetime on him. I barely got around to understanding his character dynamic, and he was an interesting one, but alas, taken too soon from all of us fans. What a pity. Speaking of pity, the governor massacred his own people. What on earth was up with that? Now, he's the show's first hostile, invasive villain, and his presence continues to grow until he becomes one of the best antagonists. But there's just one tiny thing we can't get over. During season 3's final episode, the governor leads his people toward an attack on the prison. After a brief fight, they retreat, and instead of trolling the whole situation, he shoots them all down. The moment was incredibly shocking and felt like the show had gone too far. Not only does it kill any hope of a proper man versus zombie final battle, it also kinda clashes with the governor's leadership style that we've seen previously. Now, another clash that we found a little overbearing, Sophia's disappearance and eventual return. The Walking Dead Season 2 is a bit controversial because one of the storylines is kinda static. Remember Sophia and how she goes missing in one of the earlier episodes? Yep, consequently, much of the rest of the group's time is spent looking for her on Herschel's farm. And after several episodes, she emerges from Herschel's barn as a walker. Now this scene has managed to divide a lot of fans. On one hand, some applaud the scene for bringing excellent character moments for Carol, Rick, Shane. Others believe the show spent way too long on her disappearance only to pull a cruel little twist. Personally, I think killing a child is a bit poor in taste, especially because Sophia never died in the comic book. But the show sure knows how to push its boundaries and go that extra mile to shock or catch their viewers by surprise. Well, those were some of the times The Walking Dead went a tad bit too far.
Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.
See you in the next video.